Hello everyone, hi, how are you guys doing? Welcome back to another episode of a Chernobyl reaction. This is Hurt Live, my name is Matt. Um, Hi, we have a new camera, don't worry about that. I already did a gag with that on the Doctor Who episode for this week, so I'm not gonna do it again. But, um, yeah, new camera, it's different, so I asked this question to the Doctor Who folks already, but like, tell me what do you think about this, like the position the camera is in, what shot you're getting of this. Maybe I should move it around, maybe I should like, because we're not doing like the purple wall in the background anymore, that's like over there. But I think it would be more setup. This would be ideal because it's like minimal setup, the webcam is just on top of my monitor and there we go, but let me know. I can figure something out. Anyway, back to Chernobyl. It's episode 3. We're doing it. It's happening. So episode 1 came out on YouTube just like this weekend, because it came out on Saturday. I planned for it to come out on Friday, replacing Dark. But there had been some issues with some copyright shenanigans happened. Some re-uploading had to be done. Some errors rendering and uploading happened. A lot of things happen. I also had a really busy day that Friday, so I just couldn't do it in time. So I guess Chernobyl is a Saturday upload now. So Chernobyl Saturdays, Nuclear Saturdays. Let's go. But yes, the episode came out. Most of the stuff that they said that I should address, I have already addressed on episode 2, which was mostly just like I did some wikiing, just making sure of like, okay, that's what this character is, that's what this is, So, in that regard, I think we're fine. But like, okay, moving in to episode 3. Something that has been said to me is that episodes 3 and 4 are gonna be the most fucked up ones in terms of gruesomeness, right? So far, the fucked up things have been about politics and how people deal with this and how people feel about this and the implications, yada yada yada. It seems that episodes 3 and 4 are gonna be just like, we get a good look at the victims, maybe, that's what I'm assuming. And I'm just like, all right, sure, man. Like, okay, because I did say immediately at the beginning of the show, like, I don't want to see people getting too fucked up. And then I didn't for episode 1 and 2, and I was like, okay, I think we're fine. And then it's like, no, it's actually coming. You just have to wait a little bit. And I'm like, okay, fine. Because it is, radiation is a DOT, poisoning damage, So people are gonna get fucked up, not immediately, but afterwards, and I guess that's what we're gonna see here. So that's gonna suck. Maybe we'll finally get to see more about the fireman dude that went and was in there when it happened. So okay, we'll see. Yeah. So previous episode, we had Valery Legasov. He was the guy that committed suicide at the beginning of episode 1. I didn't know that in episode 1, but I figured it out by 2, so that's been addressed as well. He had a meeting with Gorbachev and like a bunch of other officers and whatnot and politicians. And then he teamed up with a guy named Boris, and I forgot his last name, but by this point I remember that his name is Boris. I remember looking that up. So Boris and Legasov went to Chernobyl to see what they could figure out information and then act on it. And they went there, they figured out what the situation was, they tried to stop it, they dropped like bodo or borium or in sand, tons of it, in order to stop the burning. But that would have caused another issue, which was like lava that will enter in contact with water and cause like an explosion that is going to make the other 3 reactors blow up, causing the worst catastrophe in human history, essentially, that will fuck up all of Europe. So it's like, oh shit. And then they had to send in 3 different guys that knew the facility well enough that they could just go in there and they could just drain the water, so then the fucking lava thing wouldn't hit the water. And it's essentially like we need to send 3 people in to die because they're not gonna survive if they go inside that fucking building. And then they found 3 heroes. I don't remember the names. They said their names, and I said I should remember them, and then it was like, and then I didn't. But like I could have looked them up, but I didn't want to, because if I looked them up, I would kind of get spoiled, because I don't know if that worked out. I don't think it did, but I'm not gonna Google that, so I'm not. So yeah, we also got introduced to, oh fuck, I forgot her name. Her name, she's like the coolest character in the show. I'm actually gonna look this up. This is one that I can actually look up because I can just go to the fucking Wikipedia article for Chernobyl, and then it's like, okay, characters. The 3rd character, Ulana Komyuk, and then I'm just gonna close the page. I'm not gonna read anything else. So Ulana Komyuk, she is cool as hell. She is a nuclear physicist, I think, from Minsk, which is a country over. It's just like right next there. And they detected that there has been a surge of radiation just in the air, and they were like, okay, what caused it? And it was Chernobyl, which is super far away. And she's like, well, the reactor would have to be split open for that to happen. So then she went to Chernobyl. Well, she actually did some calls, and she found out that they were doing the fucking sand thing. And then she's like, looked at the schematics of the building. Then she went to Chernobyl. Like, actually, she decided, I'm gonna go there myself, which, as we learn, is like, okay, I'm gonna give myself cancer for this. So she went there manually, and to talk to Barry Legasov and Boris, and she was like, okay, you think that you actually solved or gave yourself like some time with this problem. You actually kind of created another worse problem in the process, which is going to be the explosion thing, because of this, and this. So she's the one that gave them the information of like, oh shit, this is what's going to happen if we don't hurry the fuck up. So there we go. That's what happened in episode 2. I don't think anything else happened worth mentioning. So yeah, I think we can just move into episode 3 now. So without further ado, what the fuck did I just say? So without further ado, let's get into it. Chernobyl, episode 3. Let's go. Well, the lights came back. Never mind. I think it's a different kind of light, actually. Like, they were given regular lights and then backup lights that work in a different manner. So I guess they did anticipate that. Previous episode, I was like, they didn't anticipate it, and then it's like, well, they did, I guess. So. They did it!
You can't be here. It's not safe.
I am here to see my husband, Vasily Ignatenko. He's a firefighter from Chernobyl.
I know who Ignatenko is, but you can't.
Oh, you can't get close to that shit. How fucked up is he? I don't know if I want to see that.
You can see him for 30 minutes. Not a minute more. And you cannot touch him in any way. Do you understand? Room 15.
Thank you.
You're not pregnant, are you?
No.
Okay, never mind. He's not as fucked up as I thought it would be. Don't touch him! Don't touch him! You.
Easy, okay.
I mean, did they not tell him as well? Like, don't touch anyone? I mean, I guess they assumed no one was gonna come here.
Someone decided that the evacuation zone should be 30 kilometers when we know here, Cesium-137 in the Gomel district, that's 200 kilometers away.
It was decided.
Based on what?
I don't know.
The meltdown has begun.
Get off him! You're hurting him! You can't be in here. What's happening to him? Get out.
Mr. Pizza Hut himself. Help us believe in Moscow. Hold down. The public view. Is that it?
The situation inside the core is deteriorating faster than anticipated. The concrete pad will last for 6 to 8 weeks, but after that, Legasov estimates a 50% chance that the fuel will breach the pad and melt down into the groundwater itself.
Yeah. And where does this groundwater go?
The Pripyat River, which feeds into the Dnieper. The primary water supply for approximately 50 million people. We're recommending we install a heat exchanger under the pad to lower the core temperature and halt the meltdown. And in order to do that, I'm told that we will need all of the liquid nitrogen in the Soviet Union.
All of it.
All right.
Yeah, and of course we'll also need...
Whatever you need, you have it. That should be clear
Yes.
by now. Anything else?
No. Thank you.
Yes, I'd like to address the 30-kilometer exclusion zone.
Professor Legasov, you are there for one reason only. Do you understand? To make this stop.
What will happen to our boys?
Oh, the level some of them were exposed. Ionizing radiation tears the cellular structure apart. The skin blisters, turns red, then black.
I'm black. Ugh.
This is followed by a latency period. The immediate effects subside. The patient appears to be recovering. Healthy even, but they aren't.
Oh, that's what we saw earlier, isn't it? The guy just playing cards.
Cellular damage begins to manifest. The bone marrow dies. The immune system fails. The organs and soft tissue begin to decompose. The arteries and veins spill open like sieves. Within 3 days to 3 weeks, you're dead.
And what about us?
In time, cancer. Or aplastic anemia. Either way, fatal.
In a sense, it would seem we've got enough easy then.
Considering the situation, kind of. But even then, like...
I've seen them before.
Those are the people in the hotel, right?
They've been here the whole time.
Of course, they've been here the whole time. But if we're seeing them out in the open now, it's because they want us to know.
But I see you're already asking yourself the same question.
Why did it explode?
Dyatlov, Akimov, Toptonov, they're all in Moscow. Hospital number 6.
Okay, they're all
To
there.
find out exactly what happened that night.
How many men do you have?
On this shift, 45 here, 100 in total.
You're recruiting them?
I need all 100 men to gather their equipment and get on the trucks.
Yeah. That's awful.
Gracias.
Bitch, I don't think you should be here. I'm sure that hurts a lot, but... Oh my god.
Tell me what you see outside. Tell me everything.
I can see the red square. And the Kremlin.
I told you. I told you I'd show you Moscow, didn't I?
Are you one of the dudes that was at the very beginning?
I'm not a nurse, Comrade Dyatlov.
It's Dyatlov.
You can get the fuck out of my room.
It's fucking Dyatlov, dude. He looks terrible. I mean, of course he does. Y'all gonna die. Just by being here, you already got cancer.
My advice, tell the truth. These men work in the dark. They see everything.
These work?
To an extent.
We need to install a liquid nitrogen heat exchanger underneath this concrete pad. There's no way to approach from the interior of the building. So
You have to
get
dig.
at it from underground.
We gotta dig and build it up.
Pad.
The core of the nuclear reactor, which is melting down.
What, like,
Yes.
how deep do you want this tunnel? 6 meters?
12.
12? Why?
For your protection. At that depth, you'll be shielded from much of the radiation.
The entrance to the tunnel won't be 12 meters below ground.
No.
And we're not 12 meters below ground now.
He's smart. He immediately was like, yes. There's no way of saying that.
We're not.
Being here alone is dangerous.
We start now. I don't want my men here one more second than they need to be.
This guy is just like, let's go.
You've been wearing them.
That's also true. I was thinking that.
They're all like that.
What's up to?
50 degrees.
Celsius?
We need fans.
For what purpose?
Not die of a heat stroke.
I've been breathing dust in my lungs for 20 years.
Not this dust.
Oh. Okay, are you the guy that was moving the pumps? You were the guy that was like, no, we gotta do this.
My name is Leonid Fedorovich Toltonov.
Senior engineer. How old are you?
He's,
I'm 25.
I was gonna say it's on the 20s, for sure. He looks young. Were you the one that fucked up? Engineer. This looks terrible, by the way. I don't like it. I hate it. Yeah, his skin is turning black, right? That's worse. He looks like a mummy. He looks like an actual mummy.
All time.
No one said I should leave.
Because no one... She said 30 minutes.
He's burned.
Not burned! Someone explain the situation to this woman.
I don't want him to die alone.
What does this man look like? Yes, that is an RPG zombie.
We're gonna have a baby.
Bitch. Okay, you lied at some point. Did you lie before or are you lying now? I would rather you be lying now. Because your baby's gonna be fucked up. Because she asked you at the very beginning, are you pregnant? Hopefully it was now rather than then. Because maybe you're just trying to give him some joy. In this moment, because he kinda needs it. They're naked! They're literally going in naked. Okay, I just saw a dick. Cool.
We're digging the old way. This is where our fathers mined. We're still wearing the fucking hats.
You're not as protected. No.
You tell them to make a difference. Will they be looked after?
Please don't say
I
yeah.
don't know.
God damn it. At least he's fully honest.
You don't know.
He's like, I respect that. It jumped from 200 to 400 megawatts. Okay, very fast. Okay.
Why
Sorry.
didn't you initiate an emergency shutdown? Why didn't you press the AZ5 button?
I did. I reported the increase to Akimov, and he pressed the button, and that's when it exploded.
There's a fault with the button then. Or with the emergency shutdown mechanism.
Pressed it before the explosion.
Okay, Akimov. I remember Akimov. It's an easy name to remember, I think. How fucked does he look?
I did everything right.
He keeps saying he did everything right. He said that in one. He keeps saying it here. And he's gonna be like, bitch, what are you doing? Of course.
Get out. Get out of here. Let me go. Let me go. Stop.
People are going to hear. Do you understand? Everyone is going to hear.
What is everyone gonna hear?
Homyuk was arrested last night. What?
That fucking painting.
There's no longer a threat of additional explosion. The Soviet people have faced the challenge and risen to the task, and they and everyone in this room are to be commended.
There is an enormous amount of radioactive debris
Just
and
the aftermath,
contamination
then.
spread out across a zone of approximately 2,600 square kilometers. This entire region must be completely evacuated. We must go to every town, every village to ensure this. All animals still surviving within the zone, whether domesticated or wild, must be presumed contaminated and will have to be destroyed to prevent the spread of radiation and disease.
Sorry, I don't know who you're talking about.
She was arrested by the KGB. You are the first deputy chairman of the KGB.
Trust but verify.
I need her.
So you will be accountable for her?
It's gonna take the
Then
bullet.
it's done.
Oh. That went surprisingly well. You came off like a naive idiot.
Because he is.
Naive idiots are not a threat.
To let a pregnant woman into a room with a...
So she is pregnant then? How does she know that she's pregnant though?
Akimov. His face was gone.
Ugh, that's what they didn't show it.
I don't want to do this anymore. I want to stop. But I can't. I don't think you have a choice any more than I do.
Akimov says they shut the reactor down, and Toptonov confirms it. They pressed AZ-5.
Apparently not soon enough.
They did.
No. They say Akimov pressed AZ-5, and then the reactor exploded. Back to the hospital and re-interview Akimov and Toptonov.
I don't know if you'll be able to. And what will happen to you if you do that?
If they're still awake.
If they're still awake.
They're not.
Oh, they just died already? Wow. They just died off screen then. This is essentially the fireman theme, I think. Everyone who attended that place. Just like, these bodies are so fucking irradiated that we need to make sure. I feel like this is an end of episode thing. It was. Okay. Alright, so that was episode 3 of Chernobyl. Yeah, that episode was a lot more focused on... I mean, it was... half of it was focused on like the miners and like, okay, we gotta build this shit in order to make sure that the melting doesn't reach the water, which will reach the river, would reach the fucking the entire water of the universe. Essentially, just like connect to so many countries. 50 million people depend on this water, so it's just gonna spread like massively. So we have to stop that from happening, right? So that was okay, this is what we're gonna do now. Also, the 3 men that went in the previous episode, they succeeded, which it's like, it's amazing, because like when I finished episode 2, I was like, dude, there's no way they're succeeding. Like it looked like, okay, they're fucked now, and it's like, next time we see what we do, you know. I was expecting them to send in like 3 more guys that would like that would know nothing, and somehow they would succeed, you know, or sound like a fucking full-on giant group of people. But like, no, those 3 guys actually succeeded. And the reason why they succeeded seems to be that they gave them like lights, and then they give them backup lights. Whatever I said at the end of episode 2 is not valid anymore, because I was like, why didn't they think of this? Why didn't they think of the fact that this shit would just not work, and gave them something, or just gave them some different equipment, you know? And it's like, no, they actually were sent in with the adequate equipment, and it's like, okay, then there we go. You know, this is not stupid anymore. This works. So then when they started doing that, I'm like, okay, cool. And they went into the, like, fucking just water that is in, like, swimming level, you know, like up to the neck. They went in, and they shut the thing down, or whatever the fuck they needed to do. And it worked. They drained everything, and yeah, they came out victorious. Essentially, it was even like in the air whether or not they were gonna be able to come back. But it's like, no, they did. However, they probably did get so fucked up with radiation that they will be in the exact same situation that all the characters that we also saw in this episode, where they're gonna be like that in a couple days. So there you go. The rest of the episode was focused on, this is the people that were there, and this is how fucked up they are. And we also actually got an explanation as to what happens to the people that get radiation poisoning to that level. Because again, we have established that radiation is a DOT rather than a burst damage. And it can be a burst damage. Some people were burst damage and they died in a couple minutes. But it is a DOT that it stacks. And the more radiation you get, the worse it will be and the faster it will be. But the people that were in the near facility, in the building, just like immediately surrounding it, they had it the worst, I think, because, okay, so people died immediately in the building because of the radiation, But then there were some people that got so fucked up on radiation, but then they came out. And after they came out, it's like, well, now you have to deal with the poisoning, which is the worst. And it's like, I'm thinking about this. Like, is there a more fucked up way to go than by this shit, by radiation poisoning to this level? Is there anything worse than that? I mean, you can argue burning alive is pretty bad. Or like, okay, you know which one is also really bad? Like, that thing that they used to do where they just like tied people's limbs off and then they just pulled, and then it was just like eventually the person would just be like split open by a force, not even by cutting. That's pretty bad too. But like radiation poisoning to this level, it's like, it's terrible. And like we saw it, like they made sure we saw it. Okay, the only one we didn't see was Akimov, and then the reason why they didn't show us Akimov was because then Komyak said like, Akimov, he didn't have his face, and I'm just like, oh no. At least he's dead now, so at least we won't be able to see that, I don't think. But like, we got to see Vasily, which was the fireman. We got to see what was the name of the other dude? The other dude in the nuclear plant, not Akimov, not Dyatlov, the skinny guy that was 25, and he was the chief engineer. I remember all of these details. I don't remember his name, but we got to see him, and he looks super fucked up. But it's like everything got progressively more fucked up at the condition we saw these people in, because the first one we saw was I just said his name and I forgot, the fireman dude. We saw him, Vasily. Okay, we saw Vasily, and he, at the beginning of the episode, he seemed okay, and I was actually surprised. I was like, oh, he's just hanging out and playing cards with the other people that are fucked up, and he's even smoking. And like, he looks fucked up, but he doesn't look that terrible. Like, it looks like blisters and shit, but nothing more than that. But then we got an explanation, and this was really smart. Like, the way they set this up is really clever, and I liked it a lot. Is that we got a scene with Valery Legasov, where he's actually he's walking with Boris, and they're just talking, and Boris asked him what is gonna happen to our boys, and it's like the people that went in there and everyone was nearby and all that stuff. And Legasov explains they're gonna get fucked up by radiation, and not right now, not like immediately, but like their skin will turn red, and then it will turn black. And like he explains the specifics, I don't remember, but it's like their cellular composure of their bodies would literally just start to melt, and then it will seem like they will get better when this process stops, but then it will get worse because the bone marrow dies and the immune system fails, and then the entire body just stops working. It just fucking shuts down. It rots. It rots. That's what it does. Like, when you die, your body just rots. And like that's what happens essentially. Like, your body, to my understanding at least, to what I understood, is like your body would act as if it were dead when it's not. Like, you're still alive in your zombie body. That's what I understood from that, and that's what I think we saw. Because, like, I forgot his name again. Because I keep thinking of his name, and I think of Valerie, and it's like, no, that's Legasov. That's a cool guy. But, like, the fireman dude, he's, at the beginning, he seemed okay. He only had, like, blisters and shit. Then his entire body was just like fucking red, and he was just awful. And like, we had this scene where the wife goes in there and he touches his hand and opens the window and all that stuff, and it was pretty nice. But you saw him, and it's like his entire skin is just off. His hair is falling off. Like, there's like almost nothing. Then the next one we saw was the engineer dude, the young guy, 25, skinny. He looked in the condition that the fireman dude looked like, in red, just like super fucked up, just like nothing. But the one that was the worst was the fireman dude again, except that this time I was keep thinking back to when Legasov said his body will be red and then it will be black and then he will just die because the body just stops working. And I'm just like, okay, so what color is it this time? And when they were transporting him, I was like, that doesn't look like much color to me. So I was like, all right, it's turning black. And then they weren't showing us, and then the wife walked in there, and then they showed us, and it's like, buddy, you're not looking fine. It's like he looked like a mummy. He looked like a zombie, just like a straight up zombie. Just like the entire body, because like it melted, it had all the blisters and shit, and then the patches of skin just fell off and all that stuff. But then all the muscles just ceased to be muscles and turned into just dead meat, just rot, completely rot. And that's what that was. So he looked like a complete zombie. Just like straight up. Like nothing of the original person was left there anymore. Like you couldn't tell who it was. Could have been a completely different actor and it would have been like, yeah, okay. Because like you can't tell. You know, you can't tell the amount of shit that they got on them because like there's nothing left of what used to be a person there anymore. And I do like that the nurse at one point, like the wife was like, he's my husband, and she's like, he's not your husband anymore, he's something else. Fucking leave, you know? And I understand the idea and concept and what true love supposedly is, but I'm just like, bitch, you need to go. Bitch, you need to go. This is bad. But like, okay. So apparently the wife is pregnant. I'm not sure about that. By the way, like, was this established? It could have been established and I just forgot about it. It could have been established in episode 1 and I just forgot about it. So I don't know about that. People will correct me in the comments. But there's a chance that I probably have finished the show by the time this video goes up on YouTube. So, yeah. Maybe she was already pregnant. Maybe that was established and I just forgot. There's also a possibility of she wasn't pregnant and she just told the nurse the truth. But then she told that she was pregnant to her husband to give him some kind of joy. Or she was pregnant and she lied to the nurse because she's like, if I say yes, then she won't allow me to get in. Which seems to be the most likely, honestly. So, because like then, okay, then the other thing. The other woman, Komyak. So Komyak showed up and Komyak said, you let a pregnant woman in here. And it's like, how do you know she was pregnant? That's what I want to know. Because she didn't say it. To you at least. Like, was there like a specific detail that she saw that we didn't? Yeah, okay. Yeah. So it is what I thought. So she wasn't just holding his hand, which is what I thought it was. Is that she's putting his hand into her belly, just like, yeah, feel, and it's like, okay, that was the giveaway. That's how she knew that she was pregnant, because, like, of course, you do that to a pregnant woman. So I'm not sure if she's actually pregnant or if she's not. She could have been lying to the nurse, or she could have been lying to him. Either or, sure. Let's operate in the assumptions that she is actually pregnant. She could not be, but let's assume that she was. And she lied to the nurse instead of lying to her husband. But either way, she lied at some point. So there you go. That wife is persistent. If nothing, she's persistent. Like, again, I do like that we get the character of the fireman and the character of the wife. Because both of them, they are not immediately related to the incident, but they feel like, I mean, they're not main characters or anything, but it's like they're the first characters we saw in when the explosion happened, because the explosion happened and we saw the wife walk through there and the window, and then in the window you see the explosion, and then the fireman dude walks in, and then you see Dyatlov and the gang and everyone, you know, and like to the point that it's like, okay, these characters matter a lot. These are key characters, but they don't have any function in terms of like the plot. It's weird to say plot because it's like, this is pseudo historical. Like, plot in history, it's like it's a weird concept when it's not a documentary, but it's like it's close. It's historical. So it's weird to say plot, but like they hold no weight in how events are going to develop, right? I guess she did hold some, because they took Komyak away. They arrested Komyak because she freaked out over the wife, I guess. So I guess in that regard, it was connected to some degree. But even then, it's like, I don't think they mattered very much. But like, what I mean is that they don't matter in terms of like, quote unquote, plot. But they do matter in the sense of like, we're going to spend time with them. And you're going to feel like shit. Because this is how the average person that did nothing wrong, that just went there and tried to help people and did his job, which is being a fireman, and his wife, who is just this like caring woman that loves his husband very much, how they are affected by this situation and how fucked this is. You know, I appreciate that they're doing that, because it's like, it's there for dramatic, essentially, for drama, to just make you feel, and it's like, okay, you're doing something, show, and fine, I'll take it, you know? So I appreciate that they're there. All right. What else can we talk about here? I kind of want to talk about the miners. Let's talk about the miners. So, in this episode, we got miners. Sure. But, so they're working on a mine on, I don't remember what city. I don't think it matters. They're just making jokes about Soviets and whatever. Like, they're a rowdy bunch, like just fucking street people, moles, mine people, I guess. So they're just being like that, making jokes and whatever. And then a Soviet truck pulls in with some politician, or not politician, and an inspector, or like not inspector. I forgot, because he even introduced his title. He was like manager of like the industry or whatever. And he showed up and he was like, okay, you gotta go and you gotta do something for us. And everyone's like, what do we need to do? Tell us the details. And then he couldn't. He's like, I can't tell you, it's classified. And then they just like, well, fucking shoot us or whatever. Because like, you don't have enough bullets for all of us, and the ones that remain are gonna fucking beat you dead. So, you know, just like fucking no fucks given. Zero. He's like, okay, Chernobyl, shit happened. You need to go do something there. I don't know what it is. They didn't tell me, but you need to go there. And it's like, all right. So they went there, and I appreciate that the miners, not even the miners, because it's only one dude. It's the guy who's leading the miners, you know? I don't know his name, but like the fucking short, like fucking mustache dude that looks kind of like an asshole, kind of fat, that guy. He's the leader of the miners. I say leader, but it's like, there's probably a better word. The miner rep, he's essentially the only character that has been developed for the miners. But he seems to be like a very honest person, and he to some degree respects honesty too. And I like how Boris was like, yeah, they are miners. Like, the way you interact with miners is to just fucking tell them the truth. Just don't try to lie. Don't try to do anything. Just tell them the truth. They'll know. They work in the dark. They see everything. So then he walks in. He talks to Boris. He talks to Legasov, and it's like, yeah, this shit doesn't work. The shit you gave us to put in our mouth to breathe, that shit doesn't work. Also, what's the situation? And he's like, okay, you need to do this, you need to do that. This is how much time you have. This is how much, how big it needs to be. And he's like, okay, so I'm gonna need like 300 more men, not 100, and you're gonna need 400. Also, and he just started going over the specifics, and then he's like, how deep does this song need to be? And they'll go like, he's like, does it need to be like 6 meters or something like that? And then Valerie goes like, no, it has to be 12. And he's like, why 12? For your safety. Because 12 should be good enough distance for you to be like, all right, you're safe. And then the miner immediately goes like, okay, so 12, we need to be far away, 12 from that, so then we're safe. that means we're not 12 away from it right now. Therefore, we are not safe right now. And he was like, yeah, we're not. And it's like, all right, cool. You know, like, I like how quick the miner was. Because it's like, it's just a miner. It's just a fucking miner, dude. He's like rowdy as hell. But like, he is quick enough. He has enough brain that he's like, gotcha. All right, so this is how this works. This is how that works. This is how things are. All right. And then he's like, all right, I'm going to do it anyway. Because fuck it. Like, I have to, you know? Like, he doesn't care. He's quick. And he, to some degree, respects honesty. And everyone was honest to him. Because then we had the scene where... So, the miners were like, how hot is in there? And it's 50 degrees. And I'm just like, Celsius? It's like, yes, it's 50 degrees Celsius. So, by the way, that... Okay, so... To an American, I'm pretty sure that they didn't bat an eyelash at the words 50 degrees. Because they don't know how much 50 degrees is. That is... I just did a conversion to... What do you guys use? Do you use Fahrenheit? I think you use Fahrenheit, didn't you? Okay, so for Americans, 50 degrees Celsius is equivalent to 122 Fahrenheit. That's how hot that shit was. 122 Fahrenheit. So, okay, so I know how much Celsius is because we use Celsius. And also, I live in a terrible city where it's summer like 8 months a year. And when it's actually summer... Like, I said it's summer 8 months a year, but it's not actually summer. It's only summer 3 months a year because that's how seasons work. But when it is actually summer, late December to the entirety of January to February, it's terrible. It's over 40 degrees every day. Like, it's like 45, some shit like that every day. And it's just like... It's the worst. And it's like AC doesn't even do anything at that point, almost. And even then, because it's like... It's also a bad city, right? So the infrastructure of the city... I'm going on a wild tangent, by the way. But like, the infrastructure of the city is so bad that it's like almost every day, if not every day, during those 2-3 months time, it's just like, yeah, electricity, power just dies for a couple hours a day, every day. And it's just like, yep, there's just nothing. There's no AC, there's not a fucking ceiling fan, there's nothing. Fucking deal with it. And it's always in the afternoon, like 3 p.m., which is when the sun is the most out. And like, the reason why electricity goes out is because like, wires and generators and shit just melt. They melt and blow up because it's so fucking hot, you know? We saw like a scene in the show of an animal dying in previous episode, I think. Like a deer or some shit. And I was like, yeah, I've seen that before. Because I literally have seen animals just laying dead outside. Because they die of a heat stroke. They literally just die because it's so hot. This is one of those cities where it would have been literally impossible to found this city right now. Like, it wasn't this hot when the city was made. Now it's like, I don't know how many 100 years in the future. Now, the city, you cannot live here without AC. Without any sort of, like, cooling device. Because it's just impossible. So that's... 50 is a lot. When I heard 50, I was like, people are gonna die of heat strokes, dude. And it's just this fucking... just this cave. Just this deep, dark cave with nothing but... with fucking dirt. And just men just like doing work, physical work. It's just like, dude, like, yeah, of course. Like, people are gonna die in there if they don't get any sort of cooling. And what they do is the solution that the miners used was to just take their clothes off. Because it's like they can't get any fans or anything in there, so it's like, shit. So they need to take their clothes off. All of them just went full commando, just full naked. And I was surprised because I was like, are they naked? Oh, yeah, I saw a dick. There we go, they're naked. They're freeballing it. And they just had full scenes where we just saw people just fucking swinging. So it's like, all right, then. I wasn't expecting to see this for sure. So they went full naked to dig, and I like that in that scene they talk to Boris and Valery Legasov, and he's like, Legasov was like, you are more exposed now, and he's like, would that matter? And Legasov is like, not really, no, honestly, not. And then he asked Boris, like, are these people gonna be taken care of after this is over? Just like, fucking give them compensation or something. Just free healthcare, anything. Just make sure these people will be safe after this shit is over, because we're taking a healthy dose of radiation here, and everyone's gonna get cancer or whatever. Like, this is bad. And Boris is like, I don't know. And he's honest, like, he doesn't know. If it were up to him, it would be like, yes. But he literally doesn't know, because that's how politics work here. That's how politics work in general. There was someone that actually like commented like, yeah, that's how communism is. Like, the value of life doesn't matter. And it's like, yeah, to some degree, but it's like that the economic system is not to blame here. What is to blame here are individuals and the choices they make, you know? And politics are like that. No matter what economic system you're working on, no matter what country you're from, there are gonna be some politicians that are gonna be fucking douchebags, and the entire system is gonna be built around that, because that's how systems are. To some degree, they just become isolated and alienated enough that they don't care anymore. And that's just how it is, you know? People are just gonna make dumb decisions, uninformed decisions, selfish decisions, cowardly decisions, whatever the fuck decisions, based on things that are gonna cause people to just die or suffer as a result, and they're not gonna care because they don't have to see the consequences by themselves. Doesn't matter what economic system we're using, what country we're in, that's just how it is. So yeah, I just wanted to say that. I don't think this is a story about fucking what economic system you're using is better or not. It's like, no, this shit is like, this is something else. So yeah, I just wanted to address that. So the miners, I like that the miners are here because of the fact that there's just some dudes. That's it. There's just some dudes. I like that. I like when we just get some random ass dudes in here, because then it's like, this is the most fucked up situation you're gonna be in. Also, here's your average Joe. And now how they deal with this shit, what they have to do, and how they act. And it's like, okay. Alright, so Valery Legasov and Komyak are trying to figure out what happened. Like, why did the reactor core blow up? Because they didn't have an answer to that. They didn't have an explanation. Because in episode 1, everyone is like, what do you mean it blew up? Like, how could that possibly even happen? Which is why at the beginning everyone was like, no, it's fine. But it's like, they didn't really understand what the fuck went down. That's what happened. Then on episode 2, it's like, okay, the reactor blew up. Like, we found out that the reactor blew up. Valery Legasov found that out. And it's like, how did that happen? Kombiak found that out on herself, and it's like, how did that happen? And in this episode, they're actually thinking about it. How? How could that possibly have even happened? And the answer, I mean, we still don't got the answer, but like, we got some information, and the information we got was essentially, so Komyak went to Hospital 6, I believe it was called, which is where everyone that was fucked up from radiation poisoning from Chernobyl went to. Everyone's staying there. So she went to question the people that were working there that night, which were Dyadlov, Akimov, and the skinny 25-year-old engineer dude. Sorry, I didn't know his name, but like, those 3 people. She went to question Dyadlov. Dyadlov is a fucking dirtbag piece of shit. Even to this moment, he's like, this food sucks. If you don't have good food on you, I'm not gonna talk to you. Fucking leave. I'm not gonna say anything. He didn't even look like himself, by the way. Like, he looks completely different because, of course, they're all fucked up. Like, he was the least fucked up of all of them. That's what's upsetting here. So him, then she went to talk to the skinny dude, and what the skinny dude said is that there was a surge in power from Okay, so to my understanding, they were running like a safety test, and the power that they had was 200 gigawatts, and then it was 400. It just like jumped, just like bam, had a nice just spike, and then they said, well, what they need to do is like, okay, there's a spike of power. What we need to do is we need to shut down the thing. We need to shut down the energy, the core, everything, because it's like, yeah, stop it, because this is bad. We don't need to fuck with that high level, that spike. It's like, no, we need to be careful, shut it down. They did that. When they pressed the shutdown button, AC5, I think. So, okay, so apparently the skinny guy told Akimov about the spike, shut it down, and then Akimov pressed the button, and when he pressed the button, the reactor core exploded. That's what happened. So my immediate thought there was that because like okay, so here's the thing, is that I read about Chernobyl, the disaster itself, because it's like a general culture thing. It's like, okay, I'm curious about what happened here. And the thing is that since I'm not a physicist, like a nuclear physicist, I don't understand a lot of the specifics of what the fuck happened. There's a bike passing through. I don't understand a lot of the specifics about what happened because I'm not qualified to do that. This is not my area of expertise. So I read about it and I was like, sure, you know, like I don't actually know. But my immediate thought was that I'm pretty sure that it was a mixture of a bunch of things, from like something that just so happened to happen, and then like an error that someone made, and then like maybe like there was a fault in the equipment, you know, like it was faulty. So what I'm thinking is that they pressed the button, and both of them say that they pressed the button before it exploded. Like they pressed it and then it blew up. So it's like, okay, that's a straight up cause reaction thing. It's like, you press button, core explodes. Therefore, what happened to that button? You know? It's like, what I'm thinking is like, so the button, I doubt that the button is directly wired to like blow up the core. The button is supposed to be the emergency shutdown. So what I'm thinking is that the emergency shutdown system was faulty. Like whatever the emergency shutdown thing is, whenever that was made, whoever made it, designed it, is it electronic? Is it like a code thing? Or maybe it's just like, or maybe it's mechanical. Maybe it's a physical thing. So whoever built it / coded it, whatever, made a mistake. So then when the button was pressed, that triggered the faulty shutdown system, which essentially just made everything blow up because there was a fault. And if there's a fault, then shit happens, you know? So that's what I would assume happens, and that's what I believe is they're gonna tell us eventually. Because it's a straight up cost to reaction thing, you know? Like button was pressed, shit happened. Okay, then what happened? And it's like, well, the button must have been wired to something that made it blow up. And I doubt that someone actively decided, I'm gonna make a button that blows up this. I'm pretty sure it was a mistake, so there has to have been a fault with the shutdown system. So that's what I assume happened. So they're searching for the truth. There's also the thing of like, okay, so we're talking about spies essentially, and I was confused about whether or not it was like spies from the government, from the Americans, like the Cold War thing, like they're trying to get information there or whatever. And it's like, no, it's from the government itself. It's from the Kremlin. Like they actually send spies there. And the reason why is because it's like, yeah, information about this doesn't need to get out. It's not going to get out. And it's like, yeah, that makes sense. It makes sense that the KGB was fucking sent on everyone's asses that is trying to solve this. Because it's like, yeah, this is a fucked up thing. And the least people know about it, the better, honestly. Even though it's not. Because, like, the thing about it is that Valery Legasov, as well as Komyak, both of them, they are people of science, and they're like, this sucks. This is the worst thing that could have possibly happened. We need to make sure this doesn't happen again, because more people are gonna die. Like, we're gonna have more victims of this, which is so fucked. we need to make sure this doesn't happen again. The way we do that is by figuring out what happened to begin with and making sure that that information is widely known. So then everyone makes sure that they don't do that. That's it. That's how you do this. That's like a history thing, you know? It's like you read history and it's like, okay, this should happen after they did that shit. Okay, we need to make sure not to do that again. And it's like, okay, that's all you needed to do, America. Just not vote for that dude. Anyway, moving on from that thing. So Komyak goes to Hospital 6 to get information from all of them. The engineer dude cooperates. Akimov cooperates. And again, I want to bring up the fact that we don't get to see Akimov because he doesn't have a face anymore, apparently. And it's like, that is the worst. I'm glad they didn't show that. Like, maybe they did. I wasn't looking at the screen when that happened, but I don't think they did. Even then, I don't know how they would have been able to, like, show that. Like, they would have to do that in CGI, right? I mean, you can do some shit with practical effects, and never mind that. They could have done that. But, like, yeah, I just wasn't looking at my screen because I was like, they aren't showing him for a reason. And the reason was because he was too fucked to show. So they didn't do that. She's trying to figure everything out. And then the KGB locks her up. Because it's like, no, you're not going to make this information widely spread. And then it's like, well, she wants to. And Legacy wants to. Because it's a matter of, like, people need to know to make sure this doesn't happen again, right? So we need to investigate, then we need to look into this. We don't need to bury it. Like, burying it and pretending it never happened, that's the worst thing we could do. We need to figure it out and make sure it doesn't happen again. That's the approach. But then, of course, they are being, I'm not sure if, like, hunted or whatever, but it's like, they are being watched by the KGB to make sure that they don't do that specifically. Because it's the Cold War era, it's fucking USSR Russia, it's like, you know, it's like, fucking goddamn it, you know, like, information nobody needs to know, fucking shut up, you know. Fucking seeing the fireman dude just fucking all black and melted, rot, it's like, that's the worst. That's the fucking worst. Anything else worth talking about in this episode? I mean, it's a lot of the fucked up shit, the miners, the truth that they're trying to figure out. We got to see Mr. Pizza Hut Man again. That was nice. It's nice that we saw Mr. Pizza Hut Man again. Dude, I'm just gonna keep the joke of Pizza Hut going the entire show. And even after the show is over, Gorbachev is just gonna be Pizza Hut Man for me now. So I'm sorry about that, Mr. Gorbachev, but, like, listen. Okay, so I think Pizza Hut is actually pretty good. I only went to Pizza Hut once, when I went to Paraguay, because we don't have Pizza Hut in Argentina. At least, definitely not in my city. I'm not sure if there's any in Buenos Aires. But I went to Paraguay a couple years ago, and there was a Pizza Hut there, and I went there, and it was nice. The cheesy bites were great. Yeah, so I don't have anything against Mr. Gorbachev. I just think it's fun. So that's the Pizza Hut. Okay, I think we're good. I think we're good with this review. I don't think there's anything else to talk about. I mean, I can always, like, squeeze things to talk about. I do that consistently, but, like, I think we're good. Yeah, sure, let's say we're good. Okay, before I go, again, I just want to say, like, hey, everyone, like, I'm trying out this new camera, and I'm gonna continue to use this new camera. I think it's just better than the old shit that I was using. But, like, I can try, like, having the camera in, like, a different position, or, like, I don't know. Let me know if this is too distracting, or if I should, like, try to get, like, an angle instead of just directly in front of me and above. I don't know. I don't know what I'm gonna do about that, but, like, let me know. What would you prefer? If this is okay. If this is okay, I'm just gonna keep doing this, because this is the ideal setup, I think, because it's, like, it's simple. It's just on top of my screen, and then I just hit go, and then we go. You know. So Alright, I think that was an episode. We can wrap it up. Alright everyone, thank you so much for watching this reaction to Chernobyl. If you would like to see next one, it's already up on Patreon as well as full length. Check links in the description, gaming channel, all that stuff, and I'll see you next time, okay? Take care.